Welcome back to another one of our privacy streams. So my name's Chris Whitlock. I'm the president and founder of Study GRC. And then with me, we have Dwight Turner. Did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's everybody? What's up, everybody? I'm Dwight. I'm a certified privacy professional. I love to talk about this stuff, and together we're trying to make privacy more accessible for everyday folks, including all of our security professionals and people who want to be more well versed in privacy. So, thanks for joining us. We got a hot topic for you today.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about automated decision making. So ADTM, or I'm sorry, ADMT.
Like you needed another acronym. Here we go with computers making decisions for us. Some of us, I think, especially are on our study GRC side, if a lot of people changing jobs and looking for opportunities in what has been a rough job market, you might have some familiarity with this, or it might be a sore subject when you think about ATS and all of the different ways we see AI being used in the workplace and especially in terms of job screening. So we want to just let you know that it is a hairy topic and it's a big topic, and it's one that we see addressed in these big regulations, and also it's always sort of hot in the news. Like, are they doing this fairly? Is it is there a bias for certain communities? And we just want to bring that to y'all and just discuss it today.
Yeah, and so in short, automated decision making technology, ADMT, is when you take algorithms or learning in order to make decisions autonomously. And like Dwight had mentioned, they're like ATS systems, how these companies are utilizing AI in order to pre-scan resumes to, pick the top of the pile or based on their filters. And there was also another one that was like in regards to other parts of the hiring process. I've even heard about this like in the medical field, even to try to automate some of the different tasks, like with medical billing. And we see this all over the industry. So I think this is a great topic to go over and just get a little bit of introduction knowledge on it.
So yeah, one of the issues with ADMT is algorithmic bias. That's a mouthful, but basically we want to talk about when we see machine learning, we see AI, we see whatever readers and scanners, they're taking this information, whether it's our credit history, whether it's our job history, whether it's whatever information that they have on us to make significant decisions about our lives. We have to acknowledge that those systems can be biased for certain groups.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we see this in regulations. So
now we get into the data privacy portion of it. But yeah,
sorry to hit y'all with all this text, but in summary, this is already addressing GDPR. Article 22 of GDPR gives EU citizens the right to opt out of automatic decision-making technology, and that has influenced some regulation in the US, including the CCPA and CPRA, and the most recent amendments even coming out just the past month or so about automatic decision-making technology. And so this is a hot topic. It's still being explored in the US. People are kind of raising the alarms about AI. We've already seen it misused in some certain places. And so with these big laws featuring it, there's just a boom in litigation about AI in general. So there's a lot of AI laws, but you can expect to see some of these new state laws mentioning it as well. So the GDPR defines it and makes sure that you have the right to sort of opt out of it. They have to give you some sort of alternative if you don't want to be involved in this automatic decision making.
Yeah, and we'll also drop the link to our Discord server in the chat and also in the description below, because we'll make these slides available to you as well. Instead of our Discord server, you can go ahead and get a copy of this to review it later as well. And then now we're looking at the threat fairness, and that's what it all really confides down to with the bias portion. So down at the very bottom, we have like the impact on equality. So I think that's probably one of the first articles that I heard regarding like an ATS system and people's names.
Yep, equality. These training data. If you train data and it isn't representative of all people, or all populations, and it doesn't account for historic bias, historic you know, disadvantages and things like that. Of course, you're going to get a certain result from that. And so we need to have some controls in place to deal the results that we from from these systems, and we need to be able to explain how they're coming up with these conclusions, and we need to come back and be able to evaluate it for fairness. And so we just kind of got a little hierarchy here of how we would go about doing that. And I think just having having some sort of framework. We see the AI RMF and some other governance mechanisms coming through, but AI governance is going to be a big topic for security and privacy folks this year.
Yeah, and another link that we'll put down in the description below is Jack Scott's did a wonderful intro talking about AI bias and some of the tools you can use to actually test for it with some of the different models out there that I'll put in the description below. I highly recommend checking out that. It's about an hour long intro. There's a lot of information that goes through that for the fairness and bias. And so now we're getting into like the mitigating bias. So how do we, what do we do about it? What can we?
It starts with better training. It starts with, more diverse, data. A lot. It starts with a lot of testing. Looking at those outcomes, making sure they're representative. For example, do we have the same number of males to females getting passed through the system? If it's some sort of approval system or job application, we just want to make sure, like of our finalists, is it equal? Is it not giving an unfair advantage to the males or to the females? Just as an
Yeah, and there's a lot more that we could dig into this. This is to just get some of the conversation around it, because not only do you have people, but like you're talking about race, sex, age, what region you're from, your background. There's so many different variations of this form of bias that can and has been shown to be occurring. And so having this in mind and being aware that it exists is the most important portion. And like another thing that I had also seen is where there was bias on vendors. Like they were trying to use AI to pick vendors in supply chain, and it was having bias with that even. So there's many different portions on here. Yeah, and I think that continuous monitoring, we've talked about it before, and just going through and just assessing it on a regular set schedule makes a big difference.
Yeah, we're going to get into these controls. If this is interesting to you, please let us know in the chat. We definitely want to talk AI governance. We want to dedicate a whole entire episode to AI governance for everyone and talk a little bit more in depth. Maybe we can talk specifically about the AI RMF, going through that and how they deal with these issues in particular. But there's a lot to say, and we've got some interesting articles. Like, these are already hot button issues. If all of us have had, again, with the situation, we've got some hot articles that we want to discuss with you, where these issues have already been in the news and lawsuits that have been going on for years.
Yeah, and we also want to hear from you guys. So what articles are you guys coming across? Is there any topics you want to hear? Like Dwight was saying, drop it in the chat here. One of the best places is inside of our Discord, especially for like news articles. We're always sharing stuff, especially Dwight over here, the privacy pro. So yeah, definitely let us know. We have this stream every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central, and we look forward to just socializing with you guys and talking.
So from here, we're gonna talk a little bit about those current events. We'll have the links down in the description box. You should definitely like fully read these articles. We won't really do them justice, but we think that there are some issues that you will not have much trouble feeling a way about. We have all been looking at this United Healthcare stuff. It's been one of the hottest topics. It was almost too hot a couple weeks there. We didn't even really want to touch it, but where we see people up in arms about the results of some of these AI decisions, where maybe we don't have a control like a human in the loop, where a actual person or actual qualified doctor is looking at the decisions that these systems are making, and instead they're just outright denying, you know just because they can and because it saves them money, and it's ruining folks' lives. And we see the discourse, and we see how, heated people are, about these issues in a country where healthcare is guaranteed by any means. And this is an article talking about Optum in particular. When you research United Healthcare, it is a dumpster fire. They have all sorts of issues. They have, data breaches, issues like this with AI. And so we wanted to talk about it. We didn't want to be, discuss much of the controversy. There is a lot of happening, when you look at this and when you look at these systems that were denying something like 90% of folks' claims, just a crazy number. Now, United Healthcare isn't the only one denying people. We see this happening all across the board, you know, pulled in to be interviewed by Congress and things like that. But we do need to keep this topic going. We do need to have petitions. We do need to have, we can do to, push back against some of these practices because it's we see it's serious and we see it's folks in the
Exactly. And I really like the part where you were talking about how it's not just United Healthcare. It's just they made themselves a perfect example, especially in the media for it. But this is happening across the industry and in
now
multiple industries. So
they were the worst. They're the worst for sure. Like I think there's a graph somewhere of all the like it was this practice of denying folks was was all across the board, but their chart was like they're just kind of off the charts with.
yeah, and it's a really important topic for it. But so there's this one that's on TechCrunch to check out, and then also there's this one on computerworld.com as well. That goes a little bit more into how people were really not too happy about the AI use because what's
And
happening is they have an AI chatbot that employees are using to say, hey, should I give this person, approve this person's medical care or not? And they're sending that to AI to make.
and I and again, in these companies, it goes a little bit beyond of these engineers that are working on these tools every day. It does have to be a sort of outside voice that comes in and says, "Hey, are we checking for this? Are we looking into this? Is this fair? Is this equitable? Is it ethical?" And typically that is going to be your privacy professional, or maybe someone knowledgeable about AI governance. Maybe it's your data governance folks. Maybe it's even your GRC folks that have some of these responsibilities. It does sort of follow us, so we want to make sure that you're hearing about this now because it's just going to keep coming back. I Go ahead, Chris, because I really want us to get to that last.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, so this so like it states right here, so United Healthcare uses a Gen AI tool called NH Predict. And so this was actually named and accused in a lawsuit. And one of the key things to highlight here is AI model with 90% error rate. And that's in relation to illegally denied Medicare Advantage care to elderly patients by using an AI model with 90% and also prematurely discharging. So that's the level that we're talking about. That's why we're talking about it. That's why it needs more airtime and people to be aware of what's going on, because this is affecting not just real people, but then also we're in the field. We're the ones that are information security. So there needs to be more discussions and awareness.
And that there are, do your research. There are other. They may not be specifically privacy. They may not be specific because we see this a murder. We see this merging of all everything that goes along with that, and the vitriol about that, combined with AI, combined with privacy, combined with all these things. And so, do your research. There are some videos out there. They are interesting when they talk about uh, sending, sending folks discharge. They're they're not just so they approve people to go home from the hospital. No, that's not the case. They're saying, oh, we can save money by by sending people home. Like you don't really need 3 days to recover. You're probably all right, you know. And which is wild when we're talking about people's health, people's bodies, and without the not even acknowledging or looking to a doctor's decision on that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, another amazing article. I don't know if I have anything else to say in regards to. I mean, I think the title says enough. So I don't really have much more to add to this portion, but yeah, I hope this gives you guys a lot more insight into AD.
I hope y'all read this, at least skim it. You know, it talks about people being denied the ability to rent a place. They were automatically denied from an AI system, and then finally they got sued. And people actually went on with it. They completely forgot about the lawsuit, but they ended up winning. The company had to their ways, and so it's an interesting case. I hope that it will influence the kind of system and this to be a more serious issue. But this went back as far 2019 or earlier, where we're seeing these issues, and they're going to continue to be something that we need to pay attention to going forward.
Exactly. Yeah, and once again, drop your questions in chat. Join us in Discord. We have a privacy channel in our Discord server as well. And yeah, we look forward to socializing with everybody and looking forward to the next episode.